Hi guys, and welcome to paper topic 2, question 1 of the 2012 English Leaving Certificate paper. And in this question we're going to cover Sylvia Plath and her poetry in relates to the question itself. And the question is, Plath makes effective use of language to explore her personal experiences of suffering and to provide occasional glimpses of redemption power of love. Discuss the statement supporting your answer with reference to both the themes and language found in the poetry of Sylvia Plath on your course. So, guys, it's always good to begin your answer with addressing the question asked. Okay, and in this case, Plath's poetry is centered primarily around the suffering she experienced due to her depression that plagued her throughout her life. Next, you should list the areas of focus that you will consider and the poems you will write about, such as poems such as Black Rook in Rainy Weather, Times Are Tidy, Mirror, The Arrival of Bee Box and Poppies in July detail the uncertainty, fears and worries of an individual plagued by psychological stress, which consider aspects as far-ranging as professional failure and inevitable death. However, there is a suggestion that love can be calming to the individual, constantly affected by such anxiety, as Child indicates that the birth of a child can offer some respite to the suffering. Plath chronicles in many of her other poems. The main body is where you will write about the various poems you're focusing on and show how they prove your answer. Introduce your poem saying something such as, in Black Rook in Rainy Weather, the speaker can be taken to Plath as the viewpoint of the narrator resembles what one should expect from a poet in a difficult life. Next, show how this poem proves your answer. You could say something like, as said, her life was bleak, featuring traumatic periods such as her father's death when she was young, suffering from her depression, and her strained relationship with her mother. Such a life can be easily symbolized with desultory weather, and unsurprisingly, Plath declares, I do not expect a miracle or an accident to set the sight of fire. Textual evidence. Finally, use examples to prove what you've just said, that the poem approves your answer. You could include something such as, she is even skeptical about the nature of miracles, telling the reader, miracles occur if you care to call those spasmodic tricks of radiancy miracles. The same approach can be applied in 3 other paragraphs, each featuring a different poem of Plath's. Times Are Tidy. Introduce your poem saying something such as, once again, Plath can be seen to feature in the poem, the hero born in this province of the stuck record. This will be a reference to her fear of an unfulfilled career. Next, show how this poem proves your main answer from the introduction. You could say something like, she worried over her potential as a writer and justifies this belief by mentioning how the most watchful cooks go jobless, suggesting that talent will not guarantee success. Textual evidence. Finally, use examples to prove what you've just said, that the poem proves your main answer. You could include something like, the poet can bleakly conclude that history's beaten the hazard, suggesting the province of the stuck record bears little comparison to the past when there would be an opportunity for the hero. Next, Mirror. Introduce your poem saying something such as, elsewhere in Mirror, Plath reveals her depression through the mirror's viewpoint. Next, show how this poem proves your main answer. You could say something like, the titular item considers each day as one day closer to death, resembling Plath's bleak and negative view on life in the midst of her depression. Textual evidence. Finally, use the examples to prove what you've just said, that the poem proves your main answer. You could include something such as, the mirror refers to a woman, a clear reference to Plath, as the person is shown moving nearer to life's end, clearly representing the poet's bleak preoccupation with the finality of existence. In me she had drowned a young girl, and in me an old woman, rises towards her day after day like a terrible fish. Next, the poem Child. Introduce your poem saying something such as, despite the majority of Plath's poetry considering the struggle of her constant depression, There are certain texts, such as Child, that present momentary respite from such. Next, show how this poem proves your main answer. You could say something like, the poem represents how there is comfort in the loving relationship she had with her child, even in the midst of psychological decline. Textual evidence. Finally, use examples to prove what you've just said, that the poem proves your answer. You could include something such as, she is able to momentarily escape struggle and focus on issues that are simple and offer a resolution, as there are no troubling aspect to her loving relationship with the child. This is symbolized by the natural images which represent peacefulness, indicative of the bond and the poet's current psychological mindset. I want to fill it with colour and ducks, the zoo of the new, April snowdrop, Indian pipe, little, stalk without wrinkle, pool in which images, should be grand and classical. Conclusion. After dealing with each paragraph as shown above, you should conclude with your answer and a brief reminder of what you have focused on. Here you could say, as has been shown, Plath's poetry is dominated by her struggle with depression. It is the fundamental feature of her poetic world, and her viewpoint is centered on struggle, despair, and failure. In addition, it is of worth to finish with a new idea, such as, however, such an extensive focus means that when redemption is considered, it becomes highly prevalent, such as when Plath explores how the loving relationship with her child can elevate her struggles temporarily. As a result, it is possible to characterize her poetry by both struggle and redemption, love.